Hello everyone, we are here to do the out-of-box review for the Fine Molds TIE Fighter. We're going to play bouncy camera angles for a little bit as I try to figure out a good camera angle for all this. My model room, you see for the Saturday Afternoon Model Club, that table's gone for the moment. Saturday Afternoon Model Club might be in suspension for a bit until I can get another table up here. I got to clean out the stash closet to do that, and I'm working on that. I've packed up 10 boxes of model kits already. Bad thing is that's kind of dented it, and that's about it. So I've got far too many model kits. Yeah. I'm working on, well, I don't buy so many anymore. That's one thing. That's one way to keep it from growing, is you just don't buy them. So basically the rule is you build one, you buy one. So once I build the TIE Fighter, I can buy a new one, maintaining stash integrity, but keeping me from going insane and buying a whole bunch of kits, because you gotta have a place to store them. And that's the way it is. I have a closet. Restricted to that closet. That's about it. Okay? So, that was waffling. Let's get to the kit review. I'm going to move the camera, reposition it so it's looking straight down at my bench. I'm going to take some photos too of this and put the photos at the end so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I spent about 20-30 minutes looking at photos of one of the studio models. Hard to say which one, whether it was the filming one, the hero version, or whatever. I'm not sure. I know it's the one that was on tour though. So maybe some of you know which version that is. I also spent a good 10-15 minutes cleaning my work area and got some things to discuss as we get going on it. So let me reposition the camera and get at it. Alright, I've already got the box somewhat open. I got a pile of paint beside me. Let me put everything back kind of in its place. First up, since this is where I'm actually starting this thing, let me get the camera to see the date and time on this. I know it's well past starting date. I just want to be official. Okay, because this is the out-of-box review. And yes, I have a small tablet for a phone. Okay? That is my phone, not a tablet. Alright, so you've already seen this. I haven't taken them out of the bags though. Let's start with the Photoetch, because it is probably the center of this show, to be honest with you. I don't know where half this Photoetch goes as of yet. The directions are kind of bad. Okay? This is just the folding and assembly page. Here, let's pick this up so you guys can get a good glance at it. Alright, you can see there's lots of folding and assembly. Alright? This thing says there's like 40 parts to this. But a lot of them are ×8. There's 42 different parts on this, and a lot of them are ×6, ×8, and we're talking little tiny things are ×6, ×8. So there's probably closer to 80 or 90 parts here. Okay? So I got a lot of work to do on this. An awful lot of work to do on this with the Photoetch. And here's the back that shows where everything goes. Okay? The part that gets me, that interests me most right now, are those. Okay? Because when you look at it, they're glowing red. I've seen some people try it. They didn't have Photoetch. So I do. And as I go through this kit, I'm going to be looking at and evaluating to see if I can use them to light the interior of this thing. That is my goal, is to light the interior like the model, the filming model did. The bad part is when I build the diorama, you won't be able to see it so much because it's going to be encased in glass. I might make those panels removable so I can get things in and out. We'll see. Okay? So let's pull the Photoetch out of the bag so we can take a look. Again, some of these details worry me a little bit because they look like they stick out quite a bit. Here, let me give you a white card background on this, because the camera will focus. I figured out what's been wrong with my camera in focusing. You guys can see there's lots of tiny little parts on the Photoetch. Okay? And it's paragraphics, you can see that on there. So you know it's good stuff for the most part. I've gotten a Photoetch from Paragraphics before and not used parts of it. Okay? And I think the very first thing I'm going to do is work on some of this Photoetch, because a lot of these are just cut out and glued down, and I'm going to start with those on the body of the kit. So we got the Photoetch looked at. Let's start looking at the kit in a little bit more detail. Again, this is the display stand. Alright, this is the display stand. I'm not going to use this guy with the TIE fighter. This is the guy standing. Here's the TIE fighter pilot. I am going to use him. He's going to get painted up pretty quickly, because the interior is going to be the first thing I do on this kit. Alright? The stand itself, I'm probably going to build, but I have no intentions of really using it. There's some scratches and stuff because it was not protected in plastic. That I guess they built the stand just to make people happy, but they didn't really expect anyone to use it either. That's why it's not bagged. Next bag, solar panels. The black panels are free to move in this bag, and they're moving around quite a bit, and hopefully they're not getting too scratched up. Okay? They are a little bit. Now, one thing about these panels, if you look at them, they're gorgeous. As they are. I don't want to paint that too much. Mainly because they've got some really nice detail on them, and they catch the light really well, right out of the box. So these are going to get very little done to them. I don't like the scratching that's right there, however. So, and there's a few other spots where there's some noticeable marks. And I think that's probably molding marks, which, yep, this one has it too. You can see it at the bottom half of it. So, and it's on both sides, and that scratching is on this one as well. So this is a mold issue right here. Not something due to shipment. We got some scratching right in here due to shipment too. I mean, this came from Japan. I ordered this from Hobby League TV. So these have had some scratching to them. This should have been packed separately in 2 separate bags. They're going back in baggies. For now. By themselves. I'm not putting the frames for the solar panels there. Here's the panels for the wings. Okay? And when you look at them, no flash whatsoever. It looks like they tried to minimize the gate mark some. I don't know if you can see it on this side, but you can see how that bevel, yeah, you can see it. It bevels down, so it's a very thin edge right there. That's very nicely done. All the pin marks are on this side, none on this side. No injector pin marks on this side. Detail is pretty good. This inner ring right here, I'm gonna end up, there we go. That inner ring where my finger's touching goes pretty deep in there. So it is very well done. Okay? Very well done. And of course, we have its duplicate over here. Okay? So I'm going to set those aside. We get to the last set of sprue. And again, everyone, what I'm looking at here, this model isn't real difficult. There isn't a lot of parts. It's going to be detailing it. And that's why I got the Photoetch. I'm going to detail it well. I like the decals and the clear parts are in separate plastic. Okay? I also like that we have the grating for the front. I don't know what you would call that. The framework, the support for the clear plastic. And on the hatch, separate. So I can paint these, then glue them to this. Okay? So I don't have to mask and paint these. They just go straight together. I'm not taking them out of their bag. They're protected that way they don't get scratched up, and I need them not scratched. Alright, now looking at this. What do we have in front of us? Okay? What we have is basically the ball and the interior parts. Okay? Let's start with the back side of it. This is the back side, the boring side. The side that should have all the injector pin marks, and does, for the most part. Almost all the injector pin marks are on this side. There are almost none on the front side. Okay? On this side, there's some pretty nice detail on here. Okay? As you can see on the parts, there's some pretty nice detail. Now, I did spend some time looking at photos again today to see a few things. Okay? The lasers right here are pretty stinking small. They are on the sprue right here. Okay? I'm going to have to replicate that somehow. Best thing I can think of is fiber optics. That just should be fiber optics. Okay? Looking for the ion engines in the back, which I do not see. Okay. What I'm talking about is right here on the ball on the back. There's a slot here and a slot here. That's where the engines emit their light. And I don't find the pieces for that necessarily. Oh, yeah. That's probably them. Right here. These two right here. Okay. That's going to be easy enough to do with the fiber. One of the happy thoughts is the interior of the ball is going to be red lit for the most part. So just poking fibers in where the red lighting goes should work. Now, speaking of which, I need to check some of that. So what we're going to do is pause the camera. I'm going to take my photos of these sprues before I start taking them apart. I need to take the ball off the sprue and some of these interior parts and see how they line up and see if there's room for LEDs on the inside. If there's room for LEDs on the inside, then she's going to get lit. If there's not room for them, it's not going to get lit. That's just the way it's going to be. I think there's going to be room for them, because I went looking for a build of this model and found it. Okay? So let me stop. I'm going to take some photos, and once my photos are taken, I'll come back and show you guys the sprues. Okay? I will pull that apart and evaluate. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be room. Here's the floorboard. Here's these two things. I can see the marks, the holes where they go. And we're going to set them inside the ball and make sure there's room for lighting. If there is, like I said, I'm good to go. The next part will be seeing how to get the lighting done properly, because these be some thick plastic. And I don't know how well a red LED will shine through those. So I might have to do something else in their place. And that's going to be hard to replicate without cutting out a whole heck of a lot of squares of styrene. So, again, let me go get the camera, get my photos taken, and we will be back.